So we'll call this meeting to order at 4:02.
I can do roll call if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay. Let's see. Member Karen Wheat.
Here.
Member Betty Rader.
Here.
Member Rob Moran. I don't see him on here. Member Von Lawson.
Present.
Member Alan Coughlin.
Here.
Member Evan Brown.
Here.
Member Bernie Belland. Bernie's here, he's just muted. I see him. Member Monir Ahmed.
Here.
Kyle Warzinski.
I'm here.
Todd Barton is here in the back. Mayor Pro Tem Mike Lara.
Here.
And Mayor Sanchez.
Too quiet, Kyle. Play some background music.
Do we know where?
Can you hear us, Bernie? I don't think Bernie can hear us.
You want me to check? Bernie, can you do a mic check for us? Can you hear us? Bernie, can you hear us? Yeah.
I just texted him.
Yeah,
you
Nicole,
can't hear.
how do I get the agenda on the screen?
Oh, it should be there. Let me,
I can't hear anybody. Can you guys hear people?
Yeah, we could
We
hear you.
do.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll see. Thank you.
Sorry, I missed it. Can he hear us now?
I don't
I'm
think
gonna
so.
log out and log back in, guys. I'm sorry.
No worries. Kyle looks like he's at the Madonna Inn. He's on vacation. He's got the
Oh,
fireplace there in the background.
I set up my computer right in front of my fireplace just for all of you. My wife's not really thrilled with my computer being right in the middle of the family room, but I told her I really need the good background.
either that or you're right, he said to Madonna.
Yeah. Let's. I guess we can do the Pledge of Allegiance while Bernie's doing that. So, you all want to stand and raise your hand over your heart. Ready to begin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I don't think we have any excused absences, any adjustments to the agenda. And I don't think there's any conflict of interest disclosure. So we'll get to the public comment period. Due to the current circumstances, we're encouraging members of the public to maintain participation in our meetings by using the following options: email comments, phone-in comments, and in-person, subject to the applicable health orders. All of the details for these options can be found on the front of the agenda and will also be displayed on your screen throughout the meeting. Do we have any public comments at this time?
I have no emailed comments except for a message from Mr. Moran saying he is logging in. Let me see if we have any callers on the line. Do we have any?
No callers on the line, Nicole.
Thank you.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve the minutes dated on March 11, 2020.
So moved.
A second.
Second.
Okay, and I'll do roll call for the approval. Member Karen Wheat.
Approve.
Member Betty Rader.
Approve.
Member Rob Moran, I'm not sure if he's on yet. Member Von Lawson.
Approved.
Member Alan Coughlin.
Approved.
Member Evan Brown.
Approved.
Member Belland. Bernie, can you hear us? Doesn't sound like it. Member Ahmed?
Approved.
Kyle Rosinski,
Yes.
Todd Barton,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mike Lara,
Yes.
Mayor Santos.
Yes.
All right. So Nicole, in respect to this, are there any requests to speak? Is that, for who to speak?
That's for the public.
Oh, okay, okay,
I don't have any emailed requests to speak. Do we have any callers on the line?
I'm sorry. Request to speak on the minutes, the last minutes, gotcha.
No one on the line either, Nicole.
Okay, thank you.
All right, are there any comments from the committee? So any committee members have any comments that they would like to share about the minutes that were dated March 11th, 2020? Okay, seeing none. Well, we did ask for a motion. Sorry, I guess I got ahead a little bit there on the motion. Is that okay, or do you want us to re-motion?
No, you're fine.
No, okay. So we did the roll call. All right, updates of projects from city staff.
Sure. Thank you, committee chair. It's been quite some time since we've all met together, so I do want to say first and foremost that it's really nice seeing all of you in a virtual setting. I wish I could be there, but we have a limited capacity in terms of how many people can be there and maintain social distancing, so you get me from the comfort of my spare bedroom. I look forward to when we can all meet again, but until then, I think this will be the most appropriate and beneficial use of our time is to continue with the meetings virtually and also maintain the safety precautions that I think we're all in favor of. So I don't have too many major project updates for you today, but what I wanted to do is familiarize yourselves and provide you an update with what the city has been doing as it relates to COVID-19 from a business perspective since we last met. So if you can remember back in March, I think it was on the 11th, COVID had not hit and we were all singing Kumbaya and the economy was going up and all that fun stuff, right? And now we sit here in August and things are dramatically different. Our lives are different. Businesses as they operate are different. And spending habits have been altered or changed. So what we did initially was Todd and I had worked on trying to figure out what impacts we might hit in terms of the budget, what businesses may not make it, keeping on top of the state mandates as they were coming through was a very fun task. But as those rolled out and more businesses were closed, we started looking at the fiscal impacts to the general fund budget. We were able to provide counsel working alongside very closely with the finance director, a projection on what we thought those might be prior to the adoption of the fiscal year 2021 budget that was approved in June. So a lot of heavy lifting went into that. And so getting past that in terms of our business resources, there was a lot of information coming out and we thought it would be wise and prudent to collect all the different information coming from the state, the CDC, the WHO, and provide that information on our city website. So if you were able to go on our city website, on top header, you go under, let's see, I'll do it at least while I'm trying to talk, assuming my computer will work. So you go under the top, under community, you go to the novel coronavirus COVID-19, you can click on business resources. There's one section that actually updates that's the latest news and resources, just talking about what's happening most recently. And the most important thing to find is that business resource toolkit with an exclamation point behind it. And that's our landing page and our toolkit that provides many resources in terms of information to residents, information for businesses, and provides a ton of different links to health information, emotional wellness information. It provides links to the real-time policy changes that may be occurring at the federal, state, county, and city levels. It also has some area for HR people in terms of employers as well as employees that are looking for information on safety measures or what their employer should be offering or what employees should be expecting from their workplace. Talks about an emergency response checklist in terms of what things people might want to be looking at and doing. I know a lot of this may seem redundant as we sit here in August, but I found it very helpful when we were in the thick of it to be able to provide this level of information out to people because it's a large amount of information, and it was hard for me to answer calls or emails and provide all this in one simple phone call. So we were directing inquiries all to our business resource toolkit. Lastly, the toolkit provides different programs. Some are consulting programs in terms of helping businesses adapt or alter their business practice. So a restaurant could get consulting advice on how to prepare for to-go orders or delivery orders. Retailers were looking the same way since retail was shut down. How do I now reach out to my customers on the internet and set up my website, set up my distribution network, set up my payment methods and payment system in order to receive orders online, fulfill those orders, keep track of everything, and then get those to people via the mail. You can also find different financial programs available to different businesses. We all kind of are familiar with the Paycheck Protection Program, but there's many other ones in terms of disaster loans, the micro loan, working capital loans, those types of things. And we also have programs from different utility companies. And the last one that I want to pitch, and Rob and I did a virtual webinar Monday morning on this, is Riverside County's small business grant program. And what that does is it provides $10,000 to a business that is in Riverside County that meets the qualifications for that funding. And we did a webinar on Monday that should be posted on our website now, that you can encourage businesses that are looking for financial assistance to at least check out and then go through the links and resources that we discussed to identify if they can receive that funding. Keep an eye on the program in case any changes come up in terms of who is eligible and who may not be currently today, in order to hopefully bring in some of that federal funding through the county to the Beaumont businesses. So that's something I wanted to touch on today. And that really concludes the totality of the resource toolkit. And I can open it up to any questions on that or anything else that we may be doing. We have a couple programs that are being worked on right now that will probably be presented and discussed at City Council on Tuesday night, but I don't want to necessarily ruin their thunder by discussing it today, unless Mayor Pro Tem Laura or Mayor Santos, you want to touch on those, or even the city manager. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Kyle, I had a question, and I don't know if it belongs in this in this area, but I was talking with a local business owner off of Beaumont Avenue, and they had they were awaiting a permit process for opening another store site, and they said that it was just taking a long time because of the COVID, the impacts to City Hall. Are those, is that like is there a way to mitigate some of that time that some of those business owners are waiting to open up new storefronts?
Sure, that's a pretty good question. I'd love to be able to address that. So when everything got shut down, including city halls, I'm sure including your places of work, like where Rob is and where Bernie is, you probably weren't going into the office, right? As well as the school district admin offices. We had a little bit of a what I would call downtime, in which our typical process was receiving plans and permits in person, right? People were submitting plans in person, we were doing permits in person, and all of that stuff. And I'm glad to say that the administration within City Hall and the different departments that process planning applications and building permits were able to alter their process and really move forward in terms of allowing virtual submittals and virtual permits to be issued. We were even doing virtual inspections from building inspectors in order to accommodate the needs of our development community and businesses while still maintaining the safety mandates that were put in place. So if it was during that little bit of a slow time in which we were retooling and reorganizing things at City Hall, I would understand that. But if it was a submittal that's been done somewhat recently in the past month or two, they should be able to get all of the resources that we have available to them virtually. So by all means, you can always have them call me and I can get them in contact with any of the different departments that they're dealing with in order to kind of check what the status is and kind of see what might be missing in their application or what things they may need to submit in order to kind of help us move things forward.
Awesome, thank you, Kyle. Any other comments from the committee or on Kyle's report? No, all right. So Kyle, I think that was part of the update, and was it also the COVID-19 response and business assistance? That was kind of a little bit
Yes,
of
sir.
both, right? Okay. So are we okay to go down to discussion and review of market analysis requests for proposals?
If you so wish.
Or- And who's providing that report there? Would that be you, Todd, or no?
Yes, I will take care of that one for you.
Oh, okay, all right, Kyle.
So, notwithstanding the whole COVID-19 pandemic, and it definitely helps a lot more now that this, I wouldn't say helps a lot more, but kind of plays into the theory of what this item is it comes on the tail end of the EDSP, right? So the Economic Development Strategic Plan that was approved previously that I think most of the people on the committee and a lot of members of the community and city staff and therefore worked on. So part of that document and action plan was to go and recruit entities, whether it was employers or retail or service. So this process is focusing on retail and service. And we as staff got into looking at what other cities were doing in order to attract different retailers and also reviewing our past practices on what our strategies were prior, not prior to COVID, but prior to entering into this type of endeavor. And what we learned is we needed to go to city council and recommend that they authorize some funding in the budget for modernizing our recruitment process. And staff will be developing a formal retail recruitment strategy. And I think the RFP touches on a couple different items that are going to be within that retail strategy. But really what we wanted to do with this, and hopefully you all had a chance to look at it, If you didn't, not a major problem, because I'm going to go over some of the highlights today. But in part of the development of the retail recruitment strategy, in 2020, it's become imperative that people like me at City Hall and Todd as the city manager and people that are working on economic development with the city have updated demographic information that goes well beyond the typical median family household or citywide population or how many people are within a 5-mile drive time of X, Y, or Z site. So what we're looking to do with this RFP is hire a consultant to prepare a market analysis report that gives us some of those just updated numbers on population, households, the demographic profiles of those, consumer demand and market supply assessment. So what that means is we were able to identify who's spending money in what industry sectors and identify if what market is out there currently that fulfills that demand and what other opportunities there are for us to bring some of those things that people are buying or going to elsewhere. What's the opportunity of bringing those back here into the city of Beaumont? It also includes a drive time analysis for 5 different areas within the city. It talks about competition in terms of retail from the surrounding areas, looks at existing retail firms, an update to our leakage and surplus analysis, looks at and identifies market cannibalization, and I think that's a topic we've talked about before, where we all may want something that's right next door, right, to be in our own city, but is it feasible and will a business open a new outlet if there's a similar outlet less than a certain distance away? And that's called market cannibalization, because if we put it in Beaumont, then it simply deducts or retracts from the sales and the numbers in the previously open space. And you can imagine that businesses don't necessarily want to do that. One of the key things contained within the RFP that we're looking at today are something called psychographics. And what those are, and that's really the meat of the RFP, is looking at consumers, looking at people that live in Beaumont a whole different way. Historically in my profession, it was always education level and how much do these individuals make and how much is their house worth, those types of things. And while those are all important, there's new data sets that we can actually utilize that are much better to attract businesses. And these get into profiling families, where they are in their family lifespan, right? Because the consumer demands of someone that is newly retired and moves into Altus at age 56 with no kids in the household and a lovely significant other that's there, their spending habits and where they go shopping is significantly different than a brand new family that decided to move in at age 22 and has 2 very young ones in the household, right? So by identifying these psychographics, where they like to shop, and that data is out there, you can figure out how much people shop at Target or something like that, for an example. What do they spend it on? What do they like doing in their spare time? All of those things are available. And as you can imagine, once we are able to attain that data set, we can start piecing together the puzzle. What are the people in the area really doing? And then once we have that data, we can go to someone like Target, for example, and say, look, all of our people are going there. This is how much they're shopping there. It's way over the normal percentage from this area. Maybe you should give us another shot. And it's likely that they also have these data sets. So it's not going to necessarily be telling them anything they don't know, but what it will do is allow us as city employees to make up that gap, right? So it allows us to have the same modern data sets as these corporations, so we can speak the same speak. We can talk to them intelligently about these things, and hopefully they understand we're not just shooting at them 10-year-old data sets that mean nothing. We're talking to them about things that mean something now, the criteria that they're looking at, and at least if they don't choose to move into the city, they will at least have a better respect for Beaumont as a government in terms of what we've done to modernize our process in terms of recruitment. So that's really the details on the psychographic data. What else do I got on there? Market viability. So they'll look at the viability of a business within a market versus just going off of what people say they want. And that's a good strategy to employ, because if everyone says we want fine dining in the city, right? If we did a survey and 90% of the people in the city said, yeah, we want fine dining, but we look through the data and on average, every single person in the city only spends $100 a month at a fine dining establishment. How many fine dining establishments can we actually support from that current spending pattern? Probably only one. So that's kind of getting into that market viability. In the RFP, we also have some optional scope of work items that we put together. So the ones I just went over are really the core scope of work that we're going to want a consulting firm to give us a proposal on. These other three are add-ons, and they can choose whether to give us a price to perform this service, or if they can't provide it, then that's perfectly fine. But while we're going out and talking to these people and they're looking at our city and thinking about proposing to work for us, we thought it would be wise to provide them three optional areas. And then we can identify what those prices are, and then bring that back to City Council to see if they want to authorize additional funding for these scope areas. So one is assess the retail potential of commercial sites in the city and its unique demographics attributes. Number two is match consumer profiles with profiles of specific retailers and restaurants that would consider the city for location and expansion. The second part of that means that we're not going to match someone that's not operating or not expanding in Southern California. It's great that our consumer profiles may match something that's in Texas, but if that business isn't actually looking at moving here, then we don't need to be wasting our time on that. And then lastly, the third one is conduct outreach efforts for each of those retailers and restaurants identified, including preparation of custom marketing materials as appropriate. And the rest of the RFP to I think everyone in the committee is pretty boring, because it's our standard verbatim information that we put in RFPs that talks about how you as a business propose, what you're required to do, provide some extra information on the city to kind of help them formulate their proposal. So we don't really need to get into any of that tonight. But that concludes my brief summary. Sorry it was maybe 10 minutes or so, but I kind of wanted to go into it in half detail on kind of what we're looking at, and then open it up to all of you for comments and suggestions before we put this out to the public. Thank you.
So, do we have any requests to speak on that topic, Nicole?
I have no written comments. Do we have anyone on the line?
There's no callers on the line.
Thank you.
Any comments from the committee?
I have a question,
I do.
but it looks like Mike does too.
Can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead, Nair.
Yeah, hey, Kyle, so it's more of a question than comment. I think in the optional criteria, you mentioned that the consultants are expected to propose some opportunity for matching what we have versus who might be interested in coming. Is that right?
It would match what consumer profiles are saying that people are going to and spending their money at with retailers that are looking to expand.
I see. But don't necessarily do any kind of marketing or try to bring them, right? And there are some consultants now, they are going the next step of offering to say, not only would we build the profile, analyze your asset, right? But also we will try to bring people to the table to converse with you and help you strike a deal. This, I feel, doesn't go that far. Is that right?
The third optional scope of work item covers that
Okay.
because it's conducting the outreach and preparing that marketing material. In my experience, from what I've seen, it could be pretty pricey, but I figured might as well get the price so that we know what it is, and then that way City Council can make a fully educated decision on authorizing funding for this, as opposed to always kind of wondering what it would have been. Maybe it is within our price range, it may not be, but at least we'll know at the conclusion of this process.
Okay. Thank you. I think in of course with not with local government, but with some of the other opportunities that I have seen is, yes, it's pricey, but they're hedging their against the potential, let's say, revenue, right? So they might say if they bring a deal, they get this share of the first year's revenue they generate, whatever.
All right, I think, Mr. Lar, you had a question, sir?
I did, thank you very much. So Kyle, is this a one of the things that we were was recommended out of the EDSP for us to do? Is this something that will enhance the EDSP that we have already?
It's a good question. So this process was not recommended through the EDSP. The EDSP just said that we should be targeting retailers and services within the city. This better prepares the economic development staff within the city to actually achieve that goal because it increases our education level and our information level up to hopefully up to speed with what the retailers are looking for.
Okay, thank you. And so when we get this report based on what we're asking for, and I'm not clear, so forgive me, but will it, obviously it won't tell you that, okay, you guys should get a Target and a Costco and whatever else. It will just tell us that we could support a some type of a super grocery store or some type of super retail. Is that right, or am I taking that just too far?
It could possibly do that. What I envision is we're going to get a better understanding of who our residents are versus what they may be saying that they want. And it's really hard to meet with a retailer, use Trader Joe's for example, right? So it's hard to meet for them and say, hey, look, all of my residents say they really want a Trader Joe's, but I don't know what the truth is in that matter, if they actually shop there or not, or if they're just saying it.
Oh.
So I think this might help us understand if they're going to those other alternative grocery stores, how much money they spend there. We can even break it down into which groups of people within the city are going to those and which ones aren't. At least I believe they have that level of data. But we'll have to kind of work through that with the people that we're engaging with as we go through this process. But what it really does is it's going to sharpen our pencil as we go out and we meet with them in person at ICSC or things like that is we're able to have a better understanding of who Beaumont really is and who we are as customers and residents, versus going in there with like a real quick sheet that says our median income is 75,000 and we have 50,000 people in the city and we're pretty close to Riverside, and we're pretty close to Palm Springs. They already know that stuff. In fact, they probably already know our consumer profiles, but now we're going to know them when we're in that same in-person meeting.
So, because in the past, I have talked to developers to bring retail into Beaumont, right? And as you probably have heard before, they'll first thing that they'll, or one of the things that they'll tell you is that, well, we can't come into Beaumont because you don't have enough rooftops. This will be a report that says not only do we have the rooftops, but we also have economic demand for it, and here's the information on Beaumont, and we can give you that proves my point, right?
I believe so. And then say maybe we don't have enough rooftops, right? But
Right.
maybe we can show them something else that looks attractive to them, that might be able to convince them to give us a second look. I couldn't guarantee that they would open a store, but maybe get past that initial, oh, you only have 50,000 people. And maybe we can get past that and start a dialogue where they give us a second chance and they really take a look at it.
Okay. All right, Kyle, thank you very much for that detailed explanation. I appreciate
I
that.
have a question.
That's all I have.
Member Allen has a question?
Kyle, just for clarification, you mentioned a comment about people are spending X number of dollars per month at a fine restaurant. Is that something we already have, or is that something that you will be contained in this, in the RFP?
I believe I already have that data. I was shooting off numbers, so by no means are the numbers that I put out there identical to what the report is, but I was able to identify what dollar amount we're spending in fine dining in those industry sectors, equate that to how many dollars it is per person, and obviously this is an average, right? So some people may spend zero,
Right.
some people may spend 1,000, so it averages out. And then you can also figure out what a normal person, maybe not a normal person, what an average within other areas spends on the same thing, and then determine how many square feet of that type of industry we could actually support by the current spending levels today.
Right.
So I have that data, but
Okay.
this is gonna do it, I think, a little bit in further depth.
Okay, thank you.
You want to say something?
Yeah, as Kyle had mentioned, the meat of this is really the psychographic analysis, and to really kind of put it in simplest terms, a typical economic development study tells us who is here. The psychographics tell us how they shop, and so it dials us into the correct retail segments that we're looking for, that we are successful in recruiting. So if we go to ICSC or we go to some of these other conferences, or we try to cold call potential prospects for the community, then we've got data behind us that says we've got all this disposable income, we've got these demographics, but here is how these shoppers are going to attach to your particular segment. And so it's dialing us in. From there, then we can identify, should we go to this particular retail establishment? Is this one growing? Is this one changing? Is our community changing? The other element to this study is to also give us an insight into where the retail brick and mortar may be moving. So with the pressures of COVID, with the potential shift in terms of retail shopping and how people are accessing retail goods, where is that going? And then where does our segment fit in? And if you look at what's happening in Beaumont and our retail right now, we're somewhat bucking the trend, where we're seeing brick and mortar open and happen in this community. In other places, it's shutting down. And we have some businesses coming in which may be shutting down in other areas of the state in other areas of the country. So we need to get a better understanding about what the mechanics are that are driving that activity within this community. And this study is really a key piece. It helps us bridge that gap so that when we do go, so we either have staff go, or if we need to bring a consultant in to help us go identify and reach into that business, into that recruiter, then we go. Businesses typically are now functioning in recruitment through a broker. So the companies a lot of times will hire out the brokerage services, which we may need a consultant to help us identify. You know, Kyle knows a lot of those brokers. They're constantly, you know, milling through and looking, but getting to them, getting information to them that they need, formulating our proposals to those companies are another critical element to this. So this gets us dialed in better. This gives us the information that we can take to the retail recruitment process to identify those best matches for this community. And then it paves a way and a potential linkage then as staff to reach out or to reach out to other resources to help us get those recruitment efforts underway.
Todd, what's the timetable? Meaning the analysis by the consultant will be 3 months, 6 months, a year?
We're taking, I really think, 6 months. So probably 90 days to do the bulk of the work. And then we're, you know, depending on the meeting schedule that we go through and how much you want to kick it back. So yeah, I imagine within 6 months to 9 months, you're going to have a complete report to you.
So we would expect to get the report, say, by spring, at the earliest spring of next year?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
So Todd or maybe Kyle, I was just wondering, and this isn't necessarily a question for, I guess, Beaumont per se, but are you seeing this as cities trending in this direction, like just given the business forecasting and the climate right now, or there are a lot of other cities that are doing something similar to this?
It's a very good question. Most of the larger cities with robust economic development departments are putting this in place currently, or have had it in place for the past 2 or 3 years. So a couple that I know for a fact utilize this is Corona, Temecula, Murrieta, Riverside, Moreno Valley. Those types of cities are utilizing these types of data sets when they meet with retailers and when they go to ICSC. And we would like to be included within that bubble.
Gotcha. Great. Any other questions from the?
I just like to make a comment. I mean, or statement on seeing the Beaumont as a whole, and I think we have to, I jumped in on this 3 years ago, and I like to see Beaumont identity. I mean, we don't have really identity on the market, and if we could establish that, I mean, the psycho, the graphic in there is excellent. When I saw that, I mean, that's another program or report that will add up to the identity of the of Beaumont. Probably you could dissect that. Why Ray is talking about identity. I mean, we don't have really identity. I mean, if you look on they mentioned about Moriera, I mean, Temecula, they have their own identity. I mean, they have the winery, or they have their own festival and everything. I'm not looking on the a year festival, but that helps to identify our identity in there. And also the survey we had a month ago, that was great. I mean, that kind of a survey that what the people, our citizens in here, looking for. And I like to see that now. This psychodemographic is really an excellent combination of this program. And hopefully next will be the general plan and everything will be out there, so we could establish our identity, where we're gonna put those companies, and what's our zonings and everything. And yeah, I know I'm the mayor. I mean, we don't have that kind of thing on our table right now. And I know it's coming up. I mean, I think everybody, the school district will be happy to see that because it adds on their fundings. Chamber of Commerce will love to see that because of the growth and everything. And any businesses in here like to see that. I mean, I'm a businessman. I don't have personal interest and everything. I'm semi-retired and I could walk out. So I'm not, being personal on that. So I like to establish that, our own identity. I mean, when I say that, the city hall itself is doing well. I mean, I could see it. I mean, I see them almost every day. I mean, going in here, see the function and everything, operations, and we're doing well. I mean, but the thing is, outside, out there, all the businesses, that would be nice to see the coalitions, that work together. So instead of us soliciting a retail companies and everything, they're the one will be coming in. If they start coming in, that's the time we could pick and choose. But right now, we don't have that kind of luxury right now. So because, I did ask this, I mean, if we could do a marketing, media, brochures or everything about the city. I know they had this 5 years ago. I know I saw the Chamber of Commerce have that 5 years ago, but I was not really followed through. And if we could reestablish that, I think we have to do marketing out there. As I said, I want them to be here, that we could pick whoever we want to be on this city, our beautiful city. The reason is it's nice to pick them than we're forcing us to have this. Now, the lastly is you mentioned about the population is the rooftop is actually it's per capita and also the populations, and then the psycho again psychodemographic is really important to see that. I mean so if we could do that as soon as possible, that would be great. Probably I'll see it within 3 years or 5 years. We will have different textures. And I know there will be a lot of pressures on two identity, like entity, like the Chamber of Commerce and also the school district, because there will be a lot of pressures in there. But we have to work together and get those fundings to support those entities. I like to establish a entity. I mean our image and reputation and our identity in there. That's all I want to say. Thank you, that's a long one. So.
Any other committee comments? All right, well, I'll just say, as businesses change and industry changes, that goes along with all industries, including schools. So we're all having to change, and we all need input to figure out what it is that people want and what people need. And so it's really neat to see that the city's doing the same thing. So it's fantastic. So the next item is our topics for future agendas. I'm not sure, given our current climate, if we want to add anything at this time, just because of the difficulties with distance conferencing and whatnot. But are there any of those items there that kind of jump up for any of the committee members that may want to pull those up to the top to discuss in future agendas? No?
I could jump in.
Oh, go ahead.
I'd like to see the item number 6, the smart city plan. If we could initiate that and work on that towards that direction, I think will benefit the city, and also it will benefit the general plan. I know the general plan is really going on that direction too, and that would be nice to jump in and work also the downtown. Work the downtown and also the whole area. and again, connected with the school district too. I mean, having a smart city plan.
Kyle, would we be able to move that up to the top and maybe get a brief introduction at the next meeting on that?
Yeah, that's my plan. Is we'll at least discuss it, and then if the committee wants, and we could discuss it at the next meeting, and then possibly make a recommendation to council on directing staff to start working on such a thing. The committee itself doesn't have the authority to actually start directing work at City Hall, but what we can do is at least discuss the concept and look at City Council, decide if that's something that they want us to endeavor on.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Lart?
Yes, thanks, Evan. Question, maybe for a future agenda item, I don't know if it would be of any interest, but to see if it's possible to get information on the impacts of COVID to retail
Yes.
and how that impacts the city. I'm sure you guys are already working on that, but I thought that might be of interest to the economic development. Or not.
Yeah, I think that'd be, I agree, I think that'd be a good idea to, to address and just see what the impact is. It does sound a little bit, Kyle, like some of the market analysis is there with that, but I don't know if it addresses like the actual impacts that some of the retailers are facing during these times.
I think that we're gonna know a lot more than we do today. Let me see when this meeting is. I want to say it's in August, but I can't find it that quickly. So we might have a sales tax meeting that's going to cover that quarter in August. And if so, then that's going to give us a lot more information than we have today. Our current information is projections
Right.
that have been put together on kind of what we might expect. But once we get some data on how bad it was, we're really going to know. We can place better projections on moving forward because we know kind of what the bottom was, and we can change things accordingly.
So Kyle, I mean, if we don't have that information by the next meeting, maybe you could just give us an update and say, okay, we should be able to put that on the agenda for the meeting in October or something to that effect. That's fine. I just thought it would be good for us to kind of see that so we'd have an understanding of what that impact has been.
I think we can talk about it at the next meeting, regardless of if we have the sales tax meeting or not. We can just look at different numbers or kind of look at different things then. So if we have it, we have it. If not, then we'll kind of be looking at what we might be projecting or look at some other items that can kind of help guide us on where we think we're going.
Okay, that's fine. Whatever you think works best. Again, either it could be a future meeting as well. So thank you, Kyle.
You got it.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, can I quick, in addition to that, I mean, Kyle, if we're looking at, is it only the, city or by the region, so we could do a comparison impact on that? Can we do that? When I say region, it's the, within the pass and also the, county of Riverside. So that'll be useful for us to see what's going on within the area. If that's
Definitely.
okay.
And I can work closely with Rob from the county, kind of get a county perspective on what data that they have, as well as kind of reach out to Banning and see what's going on there.
That'll be good.
The hardest part for Todd and I and Jeff, our finance director, on some of this stuff is our indicators come lagging. So the next sales tax meeting is only going to be for the first quarter of 2020. So that hits part of the pandemic,
Yeah.
but we won't see the second quarter, which is going to be May, June, July,
Yeah.
I think. February, January, March, yeah. April, May, June. We won't see those numbers for another couple months. In order to really see how bad it was. But we should be getting a pretty good idea. But I'll definitely start working with Rob, and Rob might want to chime in as well on what data they might have that we can kind of put together for the next meeting.
Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, I'll just jump in real quick. And in fact, this question somebody asked just earlier today, and it's to try to find out the most current information on business closings in Riverside County, and of course in your case would be Beaumont. And that's the challenge we all face, because there was an article some of you may have seen in the press enterprise that Yelp had concluded, based on a study or some of their data from certain metro areas, that a significant number of businesses were going to close permanently. And so it kind of begged the question about, what kind of real-time data do we have? And that's the challenge. Some of the, quote, the official economic indicators that you get from either the Census Bureau or the feds, they all lag, and they're 2019 numbers. And so we're not going to have those for quite some time. So we're trying to see if we can find something, whether it's non-renewal business licenses. Obviously, I think we have unemployment information, but that's more on the labor side. If there's something we can find. But yeah, it's imperfect science.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Thank you.
All right, we're at reports, and I'd like to see if Mr. Coughlin has anything first, because I know you have to depart at 5.
Fine, thank you.
Okay. All right, so we'll go around the room. Actually, yeah, how about we do online first? So, reports, Mr. Lawson?
Let me share with you all first how excited I am to see all of your faces. Certainly, I have missed being with you, the fellowship that we have, and each of you and your families remain in my prayers and thoughts each day for your safety and health, and I can't wait for us to reassemble. We are moving ahead at Mount San Jacinto College. As you're aware, and most of you have experienced, we have gone into a virtual environment, primarily 100% since we vacated our campus in mid-March. We were 100% online this past summer, and while we had expected to have 20% of our classes face-to-face this fall and 80% online, we have retreated and gone back again to 100% online, with approximately 20% of our classes coming in a hybrid form late in September or early October. And that will be based on the numbers that we receive from Riverside County. We work very closely with the county in providing numbers on how this pandemic is moving. We have seen a slight decrease in enrollment. We know that because we serve such a varied group of students across the economic spectrum, that many of our students will have issues with not only having technology, but being able to access the internet and those types of things. We have made it a priority, not only through the institution, but through our foundation, to purchase Chromebooks and hotspots for our students to help meet those needs and to try to accommodate those gaps in the digital divide. We are working extremely hard, and I will share this with you, hopefully would be of importance to the Beaumont area in this region. As we know that there are a number of individuals, unfortunately, that have been displaced by this virus, unemployment, being laid off, we are working incredibly hard to devise short-term training that will lead to immediate employment. So I will bring you more information on that as it becomes available and develops. And that would mean classes that are less, or programs or certificates less than a semester, and meaning that they'd be able to get immediate training and then go directly into employment. So we are working on that. I can't think of anything else, Dr. Brown. Again, I am just so happy to be again in your presence. I wish it was face to face. I continue to pray that all of you remain safe, and I can't wait to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Yvonne, let me ask you something
Yes.
quickly on your Murrieta, Temecula and campus in there, and also Menifee. Are you done on the stadium, or are you finishing up while the pandemic going on? You're smart guys. You're building up the stadium on the Menifee. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
That's good.
You're talking about the stadium that they're working on?
Yeah, you're working on the
Yes.
stadium.
They are continuing to move forward. I will tell you, and I apologize for not bringing you update on that.
No, that's
Continue to
fine.
move forward on building the stadium, but also, if you'll go a little bit further south, folks, they are still working on and planning to open our Temecula Valley campus. And I think, I want to say 54,000 square feet. So it's going to be absolutely fabulous. We still expect it to go online this fall. So keep us in your eyesight. We're growing and moving. We're continuing to do that.
You bet I am.
And if you know people that need training, not just Mount San Jacinto, but send these folks to our community colleges. Let's put them to use. This is a time that they can help aid us in terms of economic and workforce development.
Absolutely.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lawson. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem?
At this point, I don't have anything to report. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Rosinski?
Thank you, Committee Chair. The one thing I do have to report is Amazon's building is almost complete, and it will be opening sometime in early September. In order to staff that building, Amazon has reached out to the city in order to conduct a hiring event at City Hall. So as of today, the hiring event is going to start on Monday, August 24th at 9 in the morning. Amazon is looking at hiring, from what they've told me, so don't be mad if it's wrong, but 3,300 jobs at this facility. So the job hiring event is going to start on the 24th of August and go through September 11th. Now note, it is by appointment only. So you cannot show up and wait in line due to the social distancing that the city and Amazon are putting in place. So if you know someone that is looking that needs a job or is looking at getting hired by Amazon, have them go on their website for hiring and sign up for this event, and then they'll be given a time to come to Beaumont City Hall for an interview and all that fun stuff. So we're really happy to partner with Amazon on this and hopefully bring as many of these jobs to local residents as possible. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Hey, Carl, quick question again. I mean, on that Amazon, I got some people, looking on that website. They cannot access Beaumont itself. I mean, they could see the Moreno Valley, East Bell, but not Beaumont. Are they looking on different sites? I don't know.
It's very possible that they're in the finalization process of going live on the website. So if they're looking today, it may not be up and live, but I would venture to guess by next week they're going to have all of that sorted out and have Beaumont as an option. They were going to start on this next Monday, but something happened in which they postponed it for about a week. So I bet you they're in the process of kind of going through all of those things at the corporate level and getting everything squared away for the 24th.
Very good. Thank you, Carl.
All right. Member Belan?
Is it burning?
Oh, yeah, we can't hear you.
There you go. Go ahead.
Are you guys able to hear me now?
There we go, yep.
Okay. Sorry guys, I don't know. I've been doing these Zoom meetings for 3 months now, and this is the first time my speakers didn't work. But yeah, like Dr. like everybody said, it's good to see you guys don't have anything special to report other than the fact that we're trying to adjust the same as everybody else. So good to see everybody. Stay safe. You guys are my thoughts and prayers as well. God bless. Have a good night.
Thank you, Bernie. Mr. Moran? Member Rob Moran?
Oh, sorry,
No
I didn't hear my name. Good afternoon, thanks for having me, and appreciate the fact, Kyle, that you and the team are doing this via Zoom. I think that's really helpful. Just as Kyle mentioned earlier, we were pleased to partner with the city on doing a webinar on Monday morning that talked about our business ambassador program and our small business grant program. So we're currently deploying that, and perhaps another time we can share the business ambassador program. But basically, we're sending staff out to meet with businesses to help them sort of understand and interpret the COVID-19 industry guidance and requirements. And so that's something we just debuted, but we've been, nonstop at this for several months now, just like everyone else, with COVID response and recovery, and hoping that we can, in the next month or two, start to see some movement in the positive direction where we can reopen some of these other industries, but that were closed. But that's states leading the charge on that. So thanks very much. Appreciate the opportunity to be here.
All right, Ms. Sweet?
Just happy to see everybody.
All right. Ms. Rader?
Yeah, I have questions.
Ms. Rader, you'll have to grab your mic.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, put it on.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
It was bugging me. It was pointing at me. Kyle, what's the project that's going across the street from the corner from the hospital? I was sent here with that question.
I'm not exactly sure which one. There's a couple things that could be going on within that area. So I don't know exactly which one you're referencing.
I know about
because
the building, the Beaver building. It's the corner.
Oh, the three large buildings up there?
No, I know about that. I'm talking about the other construction, not the housing, but there's a corner that's being built on.
Yes, that's going to be three, or at least two of them, very large, and nice Class A medical offices.
In addition to the ones that are being built right now that are ready to open?
Then I guess if you're talking about something different than the ones I'm referencing on the, was it northwest corner of 8th and Highland Springs? If it's not that, then I'm not exactly sure
Okay.
what development is happening there. Maybe I should drive by tomorrow and find out.
Okay. Whoa. Okay. And just want to let you know, obviously the chamber's struggling just like everyone else, but we have finally, after 4 months, are going to have a Good Morning Beaumont Breakfast at the Sand Trap. We have a limit of 48 people, and we are sold out, so that was very exciting to us. There is a mixer next Thursday, August 20th, not this coming Thursday, but the following Thursday, at Beaumont Chamber in the parking lot, like behind the chamber, so you can either come through the alley or you can come through the front. But that's open to everyone, so I'd love to see you there at the mixer. Kyle, you'll be happy to know that at Good Morning Beaumont, we're going to roll out Business of the Month. So
That's
got
great.
that going. To continue with my happy stuff, although I hardly look 50, Ron and I are celebrating our 50th wedding anniversary this coming Saturday.
All right. All right, Ron.
Very exciting, yes. Our European trip got canceled, but we're going to go to the zoo. So we'll see lots of animals from different countries.
Okay.
Continue with the good news. New members have been very slow, but we did get 2 new members in the last 30 days, so we're happy for that. On the downside, we had 9 drops last week. I can't blame businesses. If you got to pay the electricity or join the membership. And I still continue to hear a good deal of people won't come back to work because they're making more on unemployment. So hopefully that will get corrected. That's it. Thank you.
So I'll try to be brief here. We in Beaumont Unified School District, we are off and running to a new school year. We started on Monday, August 10th, and we just as Mr. Lawson commented, we started in the spring with full virtual learning based on the health and safety protocols, and then as we moved into the fall, we are based on the governor's orders that were issued on July 17th. We are moving into a complete 100% virtual learning environment. And monitoring just about every day to see where we are in terms of the numbers and determining when and if we're able to go back to in-person schooling. So we're really looking forward to bringing kids back into the space. That's our ultimate goal, and so we're constantly watching those numbers to see if there's any way we can do that. There are some rules of engagement that are set out that we have to follow based on the governor's guidance. And there's some waivers out there that people have been talking about that are K-6 waivers in order to go back into the space if you qualify for qualify in terms of certain numbers of students being ill and staff. And actually at this point in time, we do not qualify to even submit a waiver. And so just based on our numbers, it's some kind of complex matrix that you have to follow in order to be able to submit one. So we are happy though to report that after just a few days of instruction, we're going on our third day, so after 2 days of instruction, we're almost at about a 90% engagement rate, so which is fantastic. We've done a lot of work in the summer and in the spring, and just in this last week, a week and a half, we've issued out over 5,000 Chromebooks to students in a week and a half. And before that, we had issued out about 4,500 Chromebooks. So we actually just about have a device for every single student in their homes, and we have a device for every single student in the classroom. And so when people ask me, are you guys a one-to-one district? I tell them, actually, we're just about a 2-to-1 district. We have a device at home for kids, and we have a device in school for kids. And so we're light years ahead of a lot of districts that are struggling in these spaces. And so, but that doesn't mean there's challenges. Just like Mr. Lawson commented, there are a lot of students that are struggling with that digital divide and the connectivity piece, especially some of our students who live in the more further out stretches in the community, like Fisherman's Retreat and Cherry Valley and some of those areas that don't get very good reception. So we're actually engaging in a contract and a partnership with Verizon right now, and we're waiting every day for our delivery of over 1,000 wireless hotspots that will be provided for our students who are in need, and those hotspots are unlimited 4G connection, no throttling, all these great things. It's a neat program that that Verizon partnered with the state and the federal government to provide for school districts for students who are in need. And so we're ready to go. We're excited to get those and truly assist our families. Right now we have about 3,000 hotspots issued out to students, and these are hotspots that we've had over the years and that we've issued out. So just real quick, sports update. I know a lot of people like to hear about what's going on with sports, and so CIF has submitted guidelines that all sports have been pushed back into the winter time, actually. So fall sports will be played in January, believe it or not. So we will have according to the guidelines, we will have a football season and all those different things. It's just going to all be pushed back and kind of compacted. And so we're excited to see how that works out. And then finally, last thing here is our Summerwind Project. So we have 2 projects going on right now. The K-8 school on the west side of town is a stick constructed building that's going up. It has walls and corridors, and so the project is moving along very nicely, and our expected open date for that is August of 2021, and that will be our first well, in modern times, that will be our first K-8 school that will be opening. And then we have the Beaumont High School expansion project. And what that's going to do for us is we're building 2 new modular buildings that will host about 30 classrooms each, and some really neat career technical education programs in one of the buildings that I know Mr. Lawson and I need to talk about. I'd love to share with them what we're doing there. And so we're just very excited. The projects are moving forward. We've been blessed to have a wonderful construction firm, architect firm, and the board who's pushed all that through. And so we're really looking at occupying those spaces when they open, and they should be pretty special. So we're operating, we're up and running, we're stronger than ever. We're one team, and it's going to be a great school year. So that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. That's excellent. On our side, I will do it quickly. And we have the Beaumont Business Assistant Program, and I'm so excited about that. Helping our local businesses, and that will be whoever eligible and qualified will get at least $8,000 on that assistance. $3,000. Okay. That's why I look at him. That's why I look at him right away. He doesn't want to go put it up. So that will be a $3,000. Every business that who will qualify for that. So we're finalizing that. Hopefully by Tuesday we will have that final information, because we're getting all the questions to be asked, and then qualifications in there, and also what kind of business the COVID-19 impacted them. So that will be put together, and we will be approving that hopefully by Tuesday, and release that on the media and everything. So you will hear that more after Tuesday. Thank you. Looking forward to that. Oh, thank you so much. Two Fridays ago we got a big fire and everything, and you guys on the school district opened the high school and everything with Red Cross. I reached out to Torrance about that and everything. Excellent job. Excellent.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mayor Santos.
Yeah.
All right. That concludes our